It's a fear of what obligations will come with the success if my success was a fluke. If you see how God feels about sluggards, what how it's said about sluggards, those who are lazy, those who don't put in work, those who literally those who just love sleep and no work, it'll let you know the truth, okay? Oh, so you're not looking at me. Okay, cool. All right, guys. So, last episode we talked about self-sabotaging. We discussed what it is. We discussed the different masks, the different ways it can show up in our life, and then we also discussed how reasons why it shows up in our life, some of our whys. I did give you journal prompts to kind of go over that to see pinpoint how it shows up in your life, and also why it's showing up in your life, doing that deep introspective work. And following those journal prompts, we're going to talk about some tips to undo our self-sabotaging behavior, to tackle it, to conquer it, to work at it. And I'm being very intentional about the wording I'm using. See, and this is why you're never in the episode. Get down. Right, and I'm being very intentional about the wording, conquer, tackle it, work at it, things like that, because it's not something that's gonna fix overnight. As I told you guys in the last episode, let me go back to my notes. Some of the maths that I was triggered with, but I was triggered by talking about them, even though I know I'm working at them, is people pleasing, avoidance, perfectionism. These are things that I now have awareness for them, but at the same time, I still have to work at them daily. It's a conscious effort. So these are going to be your tips to work at them daily so that in some time, with patience and consistency, it'll be a thing of the past. It'll be something you could say, oh, I used to deal with that, you know? So with number one, I feel like this is a given. I think it's obvious. I would say this. And also, it very much piggybacks off of the journal prompt that you had last episode. But number one is getting to the root. So why I say it piggybacks is because one of your journal prompts was to try to uncover your why. But you want to uncover your hidden fear. It's almost it's almost like having a wound, having an ailment, having an injury, and always taking the pain pill, always doing superficial things, taking a pain pill, putting band-aids on it, but never getting to the root cause of it, never getting to the actual injury itself. So you always have these quick fixes, and everything on this list could be a quick fix if you don't get to the root and actually try to uproot the tainted plants, the tainted ideas, the tainted mindsets, things like that. It's like weeds, honestly. Like pulling up the weeds is not enough, as you know. But you want to check your physical and mental patterns. So you want goes back to audits. I do have the audit journal out. It's for free for you to download. It's not specifically for self-sabotaging, but it could definitely help you uncover some things. But it's almost an audit. You tracking yourself, being mindful. There is a level of awareness that you have to have here. This isn't just, oh, I decided it's this. There has to be a level of awareness, because it took time for me to realize anytime someone presented an opportunity that I couldn't show up the way I wanted to, or I didn't want to show up regardless, it took time for me to realize that I was purposely avoiding it. Yes, I was doing it every time. Yes, I would close the app, I would close the message, but it took time for me to actually realize, look and see and say, there is an avoidance to XYZ, whether it's a confrontation, whether it's success, whether it's ruffling feathers, whatever the case may be. I had to have that level of awareness of there is an avoidance to something here. So take note of your distress and triggering emotions. A lot of times it's not, oh, I was just feeling it just because. Come on, guys, we're at big ages. We're still toddlers of the adulthood. Like, I will always say that 20s is the toddlers of adulthood, but you're at big ages where it's not just because. It's not just, I don't know. It's not just because I felt like it anymore. There are 90% of the time there's a deeper reason why you're doing that. So number one is, of course, get to the root of the cause. Uncover your hidden fears. If it's fear, like I said, it's very easy to open YouTube and say, oh yeah, that's me, fear of success. I mean, fear of failure, right? But when you go deeper, it's like, oh no, I don't have a fear of failure. Like I fail at things and I get up and try again. It's a fear of success. It's a fear of what obligations will come with the success if my success was a fluke. It's very easy to just look at something and label it you and your story, and it's not that. Two, target procrastination. Why target procrastination? Even though I gave you a full list of different masks that self-sabotage wears, procrastination to me is one of the number one ways, whether you notice it or not. Because with procrastination, 9 out of 10, you either never start or you delay your start. The ultimate sabotage, because you never know until you try, but you won't try, right? So we're gonna target we're gonna target we're going to target procrastination by removing the friction. We're going to remove the friction of our beliefs, physical friction, spiritual friction, all that. Spiritual friction, you got to get in your word. You got to get in your Bible, okay? Because I don't know about you, but when I've read my Bible multiple times throughout my life. I've never read it from cover to cover. I'm actually doing that now, even though I started Esther. Don't question me. Just, I'm reading, all right? But I remember when I was going through a time of reading my Bible, I would wake up every day and read like a verse a day. And I'm sorry, it's something about being called a sluggard in the Bible. It's really just a lazy person. I was like, what did I do to you? But if you see how God feels about sluggards, how it's said about sluggards, those who are lazy, those who don't put in work, those who literally those who just love sleep and no work, it'll let you know the truth, okay? So that's a spiritual way to target procrastination. Because I'll be honest, I was oh wow, that was right before the podcast was launched. That's probably what got me to post them episodes, being called a sluggard one too many times. But no, when you read it and when you take in God's word and reflect it in your life, it's a lot easier to combat things like procrastination, even if you still have a fear of being seen, or even if God's word, God's truth is going to eventually outweigh and trump the fear or whatever the hurdle before you. All right. And like I said, we talked about this last episode. We talked about this before. He did not give us a spirit of fear, but of what? Love, power, and sound mind. And another version actually says love, power, and self-discipline. So you were not given a spirit of fear. You were given the spirit of love, power, and self-discipline. Always remember that to target your procrastination. Physical ways, set things in place. Have small steps that you could take every day. I understand looking at the big goal can get very daunting, can be a little overwhelming, it could be a lot. So set things in place where you can take little steps so that you can build that momentum and build up your reputation. When I say build up your reputation with yourself. If you always say you're going to do something and you never do it, you don't even trust yourself. So you got to build that trust with yourself as well. Another way, remove open-endedness. Open-endedness. What I mean by that, instead of putting on your to-do list, start project, be very specific, because I'm that person. If I write work on project, I have like 4 different projects going on right now. And then I'm going to try to do all 4 at once. And then I'm going to get overwhelmed. And then I'm going to probably make no movement, trying to make all the movement in the world, versus record 2 episodes today, edit 1 episode today, film this, work on this specifically. If you're in school, maybe you went back to school, work on the introduction and first paragraph of essay, not start paper. Be specific and cut out the open-endedness. That's for my indecisive girlies too. We're working on it. But yeah, so that's going to be great. And then, of course, always have your North Star. Your North Star is there so you can always look up and say, am I moving in that direction? Maybe you're moving in the wrong direction or you're not moving at all. But that North Star is going to let you know. But like I said, break down your small steps to your North Star. All right? This one piggybacks off of this. Everything's just piggybacking. I love this. Take your eyes off the big picture. Why? So yes, have your North Star. You're able to visualize and do that, but take your eyes off the big picture, because when we have our North Star and we're only looking up and walking, you're bound to run into a tree. That doesn't mean the North Star is bad. That doesn't mean your vision is bad. That doesn't mean your goal is bad. But you're bound to run into a tree because you can't see the steps that you're taking before you. You can't, yes, you might be walking in that direction, but you don't see that you're about to walk into quicksand and you need to be prepared. You don't see that you're about to walk into a rainstorm and you need your raincoat, your rain boots, and your umbrella, right? So take your eyes off the big picture. Always use it as a reference, but also take your eyes off and come back to your actionable steps. Your in the queue goal, in the queue steps that you can make. Remember we talked about this? In the queue steps. My sim, the goal is to go to work. There's like a North Star in the big corner that says work in 1 hour, right? My sim sees it. They have the little thought bubble that says, oh, time for work, right? But that does nothing. All that is great, is motivational, reminds them they have a job, it reminds them they got to provide for their family, right? But nothing happens until we start putting things in the queue. We start taking those steps and those actions. Think about a treasure map. It's not wrong to have the X marks the spot. None of that's wrong, but it's also the X marks the spot, the part where the treasure is just as important as the little the little dashes that you see that take you through it. If we're looking at Dora's map, that's a great map because she's going to show you, yes, we're trying to get here to Abuela's house, but at the same time, Abuela's house has 3 hurdles. So yes, Dora wants to get to Abuela's house, right? But looking at the top of the map in the corner, Abuela's house is the big goal, that's the North Star, right? But when she brings it down to light, when she looks before her, she realized the first hurdle is the grumpy old troll's bridge, right?
It's the grumpy old troll!
I'm the grumpy old troll who lives under the bridge. Hey, I'm the grumpy old troll who lives under the bridge. Who's there? If you...
He the grumpy old troll who lives under the bridge. Hey, if you want to come over, all you gotta do is this. All you got to do is this. Why do I still remember that? He lives under the bridge. Hey, that was a pop. I love that for us. But no, after the grumpy old troll, you got to go over the mountain. Or you got to go through the stinky swamp. Whatever the case may be, right? But the North Star, Abuela's house, whatever you reference we're using right now is very important. But what's just as important are those little dash marks, those little tick marks to let you know your steps. To let you know that you need to be prepared. To let you know what's coming. She has to go through the rainforest. You know what she's going to put in that backpack? A raincoat, some boots. And she bringing Boots the monkey too, right? So yes, have your North Star because that provides direction when you're feeling not motivated, when you need a little reassurance, when the going gets tough. Yeah, the going gets tough, not the tough gets going. Regardless, when you're getting tired of doing the same thing every day, you're getting that little instant gratification nudge is trying to, stir up inside of you. That is great, but for your daily steps, you have to take those small steps. You have to take the little dash marks to your X marks the spot. And also with taking your eyes off the big picture, I also want to add, I wrote down that you might also be getting hung up on unimportant details. A moment of silence for me because let it resonate. Yes, there was episodes recorded, things like that. All that was done, right? But then I spent another 3 weeks trying to get the cover perfect. I knew I wasn't putting my face on it, but I wanted the perfect chef's kiss cover.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game.
We literally say don't judge a book by its cover. So if you're honing in on those unimportant details, then you want to also just omit that. Make that not a priority for you because that's also given into your all or nothing mentality to start. So if we can omit those things, if we can take out the things that are not important, remove the finite details that are not important, the aesthetically pleasing things that's not important, the desire to only look up at your North Star and running into trees, if we can remove all of that, bring balance into the North Star. Yes, it's helpful, but also like anything, too much of it is not a good thing. that can allow us to avoid self-sabotaging behavior. Because like I said, looking at the big picture, the North Star, getting to our pilot's house, crossing the finish line, that is completion, that is done. But if you're only looking at that, if you're only trying to look at that and take your steps, if you're trying to replicate that at step one, you're going to create self-sabotaging behaviors. You're going to try to perfect it. You're going to try to control everything. You're going to try to compare your one to your finish line. All these things. So let's go ahead and cut that out so we can reverse self-sabotaging behaviors. I said what I said. Also, review and set authentic goals. We've talked about this already, but self-sabotaging behaviors also come into play when you're pursuing goals that don't really resonate with you, your true self, and your desires. Last episode, I used the example of how I want to dress. I want to dress this type of way. I want to look this way. I just wanted this aesthetically pleasing life of what was trending at the time. Side note, can we talk about how there's like a new aesthetic every month? Oh my God, that's exhausting, right? But I was truly just pushing myself down, pushing down my desires, pushing down my desires, pushing down the things I like. Go back to the other episode where I said I wanted to be it's so funny every time I think about it. I said I wanted to be a makeup influencer or whatever. I wanted to be known for being a makeup girly, this, that, and the other. Chasing a lifestyle and dipping into my bank account for things I didn't care about. I still have a couple. I still have a couple of those makeup palettes. They're not cheap. Makeup is not cheap. And if you buy makeup, I love that for you. But make sure you're buying makeup because you want to wear it. Not even to look good for a man at this point. Because, girl, I was really spending half a check on makeup palettes and makeup that I had no absolute desire to use to be that girl, right? I was chasing this dream and this aesthetic and everything like that I didn't really want. And I also found myself self-sabotaging that journey. I said, oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch a YouTube video and learn how to do makeup. I end up playing Sims. I end up finding everything else under the sun to do because that was something that never really resonated with me. That wasn't my true and authentic self. That wasn't a true and authentic goal for myself. So maybe you're procrastinating. Maybe you're trying to perfect. Maybe you're finding yourself holding back and self-sabotaging a dream or a goal because it doesn't really resonate with you. So then you need to come back to the drawing board and see, you and God, baby, you and God.
I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us.
Y'all need to go back to the drawing board and say, what is really me? What is the true purpose of my life? What is actually fulfilling to me? What do I want? What does God have for me? All these things, right? And then you start pursuing it. You need a whole new map at this point. At this point, the map is expired. It's bad. Like, that map needs to go to somebody else. But like I said, this was something that I was doing. I was trying to be a makeup aesthetic girly. I want to be, I went through the aesthetic of like trying to match all the clothings and things like that. I am a girl who loves sweatpants and leggings. I don't know why I deterred myself from the goal when I was a freshman in college. I want to wear leggings and sweatpants for a living. Yes, I will wear my other outfits if I need to, but everyone should be known to see me in this. But then over time, whether it was friends influence or society influence, it was like, oh, you're not successful if you do that. Oh, that's not the way to do it. That's not the cutesy girly way to do it, right? Don't get me wrong. I still wear my cute dresses. I still know how to dress up when I need to. But for some reason, some way, shape, or form, I took on the mindset that that's not enough. That's not okay. You can't be successful that way. People won't like you that way. You won't get a husband that way. Success is not, that's not the face of success. XYZ elemental P, right? You're not that girl. I'm not that girl when I dress that way. Like I told y'all, aerial practice, these are some nice sweatpants. When I tell you these are nice, they got nice little pockets. They got a little butt pocket, like a back pocket. I got my nice little crew, they twisted. My nice little, I love me some scrunch socks, right? And I wear them with my New Balances. And you know the funniest thing is, I went to Target and the girl was like, ooh, ooh, you're giving Pilates, mom. Mind you, I don't do Pilates. I do everything else under the sun. But I was like, not me giving an aesthetic I wasn't trying to give. She was like, you give stay-at-home fiance. Well, she know we were talking, so I told her I was engaged. She's like, you're giving stay-at-home fiance. She's like, you're giving money. She said it's giving athleisure. Didn't know that was aesthetic. Wasn't trying to go for it, but you know, and it felt good just getting compliments for something I genuinely loved wearing, something I know that is me. Down to the wig, man. Let me tell y'all something, okay?
Okay.
I am not a wig baddie girly, okay? This wig, she comes off quickly, all right? She comes off quickly. I wear my mini twist, I wear my afro, I wear my locks, whatever the case may be. But I went through a phase where I wanted to be like the frontal glued down. Again, gorgeous, chef's kiss. I will find myself scrolling on makeup TikTok and wig TikTok all the time because just admiring the work. But it's not for me. My wig is held down by bobby pins and a strap that I not glued on, I sewed on in the back. I do all my hairstyles. I do my locks. I do my this. I do my fro, all that stuff just like that. Why am I trying to match an aesthetic that I don't really care for or resonates with me? Mind you, when I went through that phase of trying to be the baddie aesthetic or whatever the case may be, the makeup and the wig, I ended up giving myself the worst breakout ever. Whatever product I used, trying to like melt lace, stunt was melting, okay? My skin melted, basically. And I had the worst rash on my forehead. And I knew, I was like, you don't even like wearing your wigs overnight. Like, you don't even like glued down wigs. Like, you're absolutely okay pulling the wig off in the car because you got mini twists underneath. And I do. I got me some nice little mini twists. They need to be redone. But that requires me to untwist them. Nonetheless, all these things I was pursuing, I half did because it was something I never really wanted. It was something I didn't care for. It was something that I felt like I needed to be because of societal reasons, external reasons, whatever. I have a friend that is very polished, that girl, very classy, minimalistic, very all these things, right? And very successful. So at one point I was like, okay, well that's what success has to be. No. Success could be in the skin that you're in, the clothes that you're in. Success could be with everything God got you. Which is why last episode or so y'all saw me in an anime shirt. I'm an anime t-shirt girly. I am. Absolutely. And these are very surface level things, but think about the deep things that you're taking on that is not really you and you're just trying to push and make a lifestyle out of it for what? God didn't tell you to do that. You don't even like doing it. Like I said, y'all, it felt so good because the girl we were talking and I was like, yeah, like I'm engaged. She's like, it's really giving athleisure stay-at-home fiance. I was like, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. Shout out to that girl at Target. She made my day again. Arigato. Thank you so much. Arigato.
ありがとう。
ありがとう、ママ。あ、ありがとう。
ありがとうだってばよ。
Right? And the next one. Not me saying thank you, Japanese. Anyways, the next tip is going to be to befriend yourself or treat yourself like a child or a younger sibling. Why? I don't know about you, but I have a little brother. And if my brother came to me, I don't think he would do this, but nonetheless, if he came to me and said someone is making fun of him, talking about him, starting something with him, XYZ element, giving him crap about something he likes, something he loves, just him being his authentic self, skirt, I'm at the school. I'm pulling up. I'm standing up for him. All right. Now, I know he wouldn't need me to, but it's just the big sister in me that's not going to let that fly. It's the big sister in me that's ready to take action. All right? But we're not ready to take action for ourselves like that, which is why I say, like, befriend, maybe even your best friend. Like, my best friend, she's like, yeah, my coworkers, they've just been giving me ish, this, that, and the other. It's simply because, like, I'm just being myself. Skirt. Hello, I'm here to clock in today. Right? Let's have a chat. Me and you. Let's talk about it, right? So maybe be that friend, maybe that be that big sister to yourself, to that little version of yourself that needs it. Because sometimes it's so easy to stand up for an external person, our little sibling or our friend or whatever the case may be, or our child or whatever, no, whatever. And it's so easy to stand up for them and be like, don't let anyone rock your boat. Don't let anyone dim your light. Who you are is beautiful, this, that, and the other. But then when it comes to you, you conform and you do self-sabotaging behaviors. I saw a TikTok, it was an Instagram reel. Now, it was for comedy reasons, but there was truth in it. And it's like, if I can find it, I'll post it.
Liar, as you say?
Well, absolutely.
Why did you work for him?
Savannah, slow down.
He is a liar, as you say?
Well, absolutely.
But basically along the lines, someone was like, oh, you think your baby's cute? And she's like, yeah, she's so cute. She's so beautiful. And they're like, she's like, she looks just like me. And then the person's like, then why do you think you're ugly? It was the sound like, no, wait a minute, Savannah, right? Now it's kind of like, ooh, that was rude. It makes you jump scare for a second, right? But you have to befriend yourself. You have to be that big sibling to yourself to let yourself know it's okay to be yourself in these spaces. It's okay to pursue these things. It's okay. You deserve greatness. You deserve to be in these places. God has great things for you. God's going to bring you through. God is allowing you to be in these opportunities, in these rooms, and you shouldn't dim your light. Right? Think about if your little sibling came and sat on your bed and said they're not smart enough to do something. They can't do something because XYZ element of V. Your little sibling you see them holding themselves back because they're trying to procrastinate or be perfect or control the situation. You witness their self-sabotaging behaviors and you're like, hey, that's not cool. Cut that out. That ain't it. You ready to defend them. You have to be that for yourself. And honestly, it got better for me when I thought about it in that way. My fiance was like, well, what if you switch roles with your brother and you? And I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, you said you would like pretty much pull up and try to fight the kid. I would not fight a child, but y'all know what I mean. I'm pulling up. I'm ready. Right? But he was like, okay, well then put yourself in his shoes and then be the same way. I told y'all, my fiance, he stayed holding me accountable, okay? God knew what he was doing when he sent that man to me. Yeah. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for, you know? But yeah, my fiance, he was like, so why don't you be that for yourself? He was like, goodness. We went into this in-depth talk, and I was a nanny as well. And every child I nannied, I love their family. I'm so close with the family. This, that, and the other. He was like, imagine if it's this child. I'd be like, oh, I'm not playing that. I'm me and mom pulling up, not having these games, right? He was like, well, why don't you just be that for yourself? It's fine. So befriend yourself. Be your big sister. Be that nurturing, loving person for yourself, because you've probably been it for someone else before, but now you just need the love. And lastly, get to know yourself and your strengths. One thing I always say, I always use this in like a quippy kind of way. First off, I didn't know the word. I knew the word quips, but I didn't know I did quips until I met my fiance, and he was like, I'm sick of your quips. And I was like, I am like the queen of quips, like, and I don't mean to do it. I just say what I need to say. But apparently it is a quip when my mom used to say, like, why are you doing this? That isn't right. Or that was selfish of you. Like, if I didn't want to share something with my brother, this, that, and other. I'm like, I know yourself to love yourself. And she's like, what? I know I didn't want to share that. I know I had no desire or intention to do that. Gotta know yourself to love yourself. But in a sense, gotta know yourself to love yourself is so important, because if you loved yourself, you wouldn't self-sabotage. I'm sorry, I said what I said. You might love yourself in areas, but wholeheartedly loving yourself, you wouldn't dim your light. You wouldn't fall back on your own word. You wouldn't be untrustworthy with yourself. You wouldn't delay God's plans for you, which, try it if you want. But you wouldn't go against God's purpose for you. You wouldn't put yourself into a small place. You wouldn't try to match your reality to limited beliefs and thinking. if you truly love yourself wholeheartedly. You have to know yourself to love yourself. That goes back to pursuing goals and dreams that don't really resonate with you. But no, duh, you're procrastinating with them. You don't even want to be on this train. You don't even want to be on this route. Of course, you're dragging your feet. So you have to know yourself to love yourself. You have to realize who you are, who God created you to be, what your purpose is, and all these other things, to truly love yourself and stand firm in it. And then we start to chip away at the self-sabotaging behavior. And I think of it like, yes, there's the armor of God. Read your Bible. There's the armor of God, but it's almost like another armor or layer that kind of like a glowing essence around you, that once you have truth of who you are and actually know yourself, it's a little bit harder to want to self-sabotage that. Because usually, like right now, I'm 26, so the work that I'm doing to know myself, to love myself, I'm not trying to undo that work, baby. This is years in the making. This nice glow, right? That was years in the making. I'm not gonna let you stop me, and I'm damn sure. Ooh, Lord forgive me. I dang sure is not gonna let me stop myself. Because usually it's the version of an older version of you, a version of yourself that you have not forgiven, or whatever the case may be. So you have to know yourself to love yourself. You want to know your passions and what you're good at and pursue them. You know, God gave you gifts and talents. Pursue them. Use them to praise Him and give Him glory, give Him praise and honor and things like that, right? Use that. You want to be successful. God gave you the gift of gab, not me. Like, honestly, guys, the most I talk in a day is the podcast episode. Like, I will be silent for like the next 24 hours. I'll have aerial practice, so I'll say okay and yes and laugh. But yeah. But God gave you the gift of gab. You use that. Use your gift. Know who you are. Some people, when I say know yourself, also know what's a gift. Maybe the world said it was a burden. Let's use gift for gab. Like someone that talks a lot, they have that gift. But the world told you it's a burden and this, that, and the other. It's a curse, whatever the case may be. But that's not how God intended it. That's not what God gave it to you for. So use what you're good at and what you're passionate at. And look at you. You can land on your success and you can land on a path and purpose that God genuinely had for that. But you have to know yourself to love yourself. Knowing yourself to love yourself also goes against what society might have said about you. Like, I use an example of gift for gab. Society might say that you talk too much, that's a burden, it's going to be a hindrance, this, that, and the other. But when you know who you truly are, what God designed to do, God's purpose for you, your true dreams and desires, you were made like this for a reason. This is a gift, right? And there's so many things like that. Even outside of gifts, just knowing yourself to love yourself is important, because it lays a foundation. It's almost like I said, that extra exterior, that extra coating of thick skin. So when self-sabotage tries to come about, it's like, I'm not playing with you. We're not doing that. That's not it. Right? So these are your tips. Get to the root. Target procrastination. Take your eyes off the big picture. Review and set authentic goals. Befriend yourself or be your big sister. And then lastly, know yourself to love yourself. That's 6 tips. There will be journal prompts in the description or after this episode for you. And as always, guys, I pray that just one thing from this episode resonates with you. And until next time, you have a wonderful, wonderful week. And catch you later.